"Are those tears?" the waiter asked gently. I wiped my face fast, pretending nothing was wrong. But sitting alone in that huge, empty booth on my birthday, I felt smaller than I ever had in my life. I wasn't crying because I was alone. I was crying because I hadn't realized how lonely I had become. I had ordered 2 meals out of habit. One for me, and one for the person who never showed up anymore. Losing people quietly hurts more than losing them fast. At least the loud ones give you a warning. The restaurant buzzed softly with laughter, clinking glasses, warm families, and bright conversations. I felt like an outsider in a world built for people who had someone waiting for them. I kept staring at the untouched second plate and wondering when I stopped being enough for anyone. That's when I noticed her, a woman standing hesitantly near my booth, holding the hand of a little boy with big anxious eyes. She looked nervous, embarrassed, almost scared to speak. "Excuse me," she whispered, voice trembling. "I saw you were sitting alone. My son is hungry. Would you mind if we stayed a while?" The boy hid behind her leg, his stomach growling loud enough to answer for him. I blinked, stunned. Of all the things I expected on my lonely birthday, this wasn't on the list. "Please," she added softly, "I'll pay back every penny." I shook my head. "No need. Please, sit." Her relief was so raw it almost hurt to watch. They sat down as if they hadn't been welcomed anywhere in a long time. The boy stared at the food like it was treasure. "You can eat," I told him, smiling. He didn't wait a second. His tiny hands moved fast but careful, like someone who learned early not to waste anything. She explained in quiet, broken sentences. She had lost her job, lost her apartment, and was living in a small shelter where food wasn't guaranteed. "I didn't want him to sleep hungry again," she said, voice cracking. "I saw you sitting alone, and you looked kind." Those words hit harder than the loneliness ever had. She saw kindness in a moment where I thought I was at my weakest. Maybe that's how the world works. Strangers sometimes see the best parts of us when we forget they exist. As they ate, the boy suddenly looked up at me. "Why were you sad?" he asked, mouth full. I tried to smile. Today was supposed to be special, but plans changed. He frowned like a tiny philosopher. "Mama says plans change when something better is coming." Her face flushed. "He listens too much." But she wasn't wrong. We talked through that entire meal. Their laughter slowly pulled me out of the shadows I'd built around myself. For the first time in months, I didn't feel invisible. I felt human again. Needed. When the waiter brought the bill, I quietly paid for all 3 meals. She protested, nearly in tears, but I shook my head. "This helped me more than you know." As they stood to leave, the boy suddenly hugged me, tight, sudden, and full of gratitude. "Happy birthday," he whispered. I hadn't told him it was my birthday. I froze. His mother gasped. "How did you?" He shrugged. "You looked like you needed someone to tell you." They walked away, but halfway to the door she turned back. "You gave us dinner, but my son gave you something too," she said. "He's right. Better things come when you least expect them." When I stepped outside later, the night air felt lighter, warmer. My loneliness hadn't disappeared, but something stronger had taken its place. Hope. Kindness works both ways. I fed a hungry child, but they fed a starving heart. And that's when I realized something powerful. Sometimes the moment that saves you doesn't come from a loved one or a friend or anyone you expect. Sometimes it comes from a stranger holding a hungry child, choosing to trust your kindness when you've forgotten you still have any. That night didn't go as planned. It went better.